Alright, the next tool that we need to look at is the fact that we have this thing called parenting. But before we understand parenting, we have to understand moving the cursor. Okay, so this is the cursor. When I left click, it follows me, and very annoying. That is the number one question students ask first is, what is this thing following me? Alright, so let's go like this. Let's add something to the scene. We're going to add, let's go to a curve. A curve has tons of different things attached to it. Like it's got components. They're in a line. So let's go like this and go to edit. And we're just going to make this a little bit more complex. So we're going to take one of these in edit mode and hit E, right click, and then move. And we'll just move it off to the side like that. E, right click, move. Okay, so this thing has components, right? And it's also an object. So as an object goes, its center is right here. If we ever want to move that center, we have to go transform, origin to geometry. Okay, now it's centered within the piece of geometry. But anytime we want to move its actual pivot point somewhere more exact, we have to do this. Let's go into edit mode. Click maybe on this vertex. And then we're going to go like this. Shift S. And we'll go cursor to selection. Now that little cursor is perfectly located on that point. If I go back to object mode, you can see it stays there. And when I can go like this, transform, origin to 3D cursor. Now, the origin has been moved there. Okay, let's practice that again. Let's go into edit mode. Let's maybe add it here. Again, Shift S, cursor to selected. Okay, hit Tab, Shift S. Actually, transform, origin to 3D cursor. There we go. Alright, very good. And just keep doing that. I'll do it one more time. Here's a component. We want to move the origin. Shift S, cursor to selected, hit Tab, object, transform, origin to 3D cursor. Good. And that allows us to scale from that one point, or move from that one point. Now it gets a little bit more complex. Let's add another situation to it. Let's say, for instance, I rotate this. And I'll rotate it just kind of haphazardly, and maybe over here I'll type in 90 degrees, so it's standing straight up. And I'll add another thing to the scene. In object mode, I'm going to add an armature bone. Okay? We'll explain what this does later, but for right now, just know that in edit mode, there's a tail and a head. And you can move this just like that. Alright? So this is the head, this is the tail in edit mode. Well, what we're going to do is just practice something goofy. We're going to take this and first move its pivot point here. Okay? So, to get started, hit Tab, highlight that vertice, Shift S, cursor to selected. Hit Tab, object, transform, origin to 3D cursor. Then what we're going to do is take this curve and move it over to this and perfectly snap it from here to here. Alright, well now we're switching objects. So here's an object, hit Tab, go into its component that we can grab, Shift S, cursor to selected, hit Tab, but this time we're going to head over here with the right mouse button and hit Shift S, selection to cursor. Bam! It snaps it right to the head of that. Just like that. Again, I would practice that a couple times. Let's say move this one over here, move this one over here. Okay, hit tab, get into its component, shift S, cursor to selected, tab, go over here with the right mouse button, shift S, selection to cursor. Okay, now you're going to be asked to perform a couple of these and have them lined up. So that is moving the transform cursor and centering the component's pivot point. All right. So after you get done with that, let's go on to the next video.